How is it going, fellas? We're back working on the car here. As you can tell from last video, it is looking a little bit worse. All the way back down to the block. So you wonder, how does something like that happen? You know, we've only been working on these motors a couple months, so you time stuff wrong, cause a lot of damage. Here's our heads off right here. Passenger one, I mean, if we take a look right here, this one looks good. We got good seating going on, nothing bent. If we take a look at these valves, they ain't supposed to look like that. And this was on the first attempt. And then we time it right, but then put the gears on wrong so they bind. So all my new valves that I bought really got tore up, and it was worse this time. You can tell which ones are new. See, they're all bent, none of them are seating. But the exhaust valves are completely snapped off. You hate to see it, honestly, but it's whatever. So I'm gonna go pick up another set of heads today. There's some 96 or 97 heads. They'll flow better, so we'll actually get better performance anyway, so it's whatever. We're actually working on cleaning up some stuff. I'm gonna clean up that nasty looking intake, probably paint it black. We're working on the old alternator right now, getting it looking back good. Got the timing cover right here, it's going black. I kinda want the whole motor to be blacked out, and then I'll probably match some of the timing cover bolts to the wheels. Look pretty good. But really our main project in this video is to get this bay cleaned up from where we've been working. It looks pretty bad. So we're gonna get that cleaned up, get the new heads on, put it back together, put the gears on correct this time so the chains don't hit and tear themselves up. And then hopefully we'll be back running. So yeah, then we'll get her tuned. Dalton's putting his bumpers on. I think this is the first time we've ever recorded at Gambini's house.
Yeah, don't come over here too often.
Cleaning up on the old intake. We're gonna paint it over here, make it look good. Let's look at this little before. And then the after will be nice and black. Well, there's just a black intake. That's looking way better. Nice and shiny, match the valve covers. We got bolts going black. Top of the thermostat, intake elbow. Looking good. Finally got Dalton's bumper on. About broke our back getting that up there.
It's a little heavy.
Looking good too. So here's our newer model Mustang heads right here. These are gonna flow a little bit better than the Thunderbird ones. We're gonna clean it up. The exhaust ports still have some carbon and stuff in them since they're used, but you know, it looks about just like the ones that I had on my car when I took them off. They have a little bit bigger combustion chamber. That should add a little bit of power, but yeah, they look pretty good. Dalton just buzzed the old manifolds off. Looking pretty good for our new heads. Currently doing some professional machine work here on the 2x4 sanding block. Clean surface for the valve covers.
Sandpaper and tape, that's all you need.
You heard it here. You heard it here at Chief Performance. That's how you deck heads. Trying to clean out this oil filter for reuse. It looked pretty good. So
yeah, we're just beating all the milkshake out of it.
Had to get all the oil out of it. So I'm still getting at it on the heads. We're waiting on a tap for the exhaust manifold studs because those are a little rough on these heads. But while I'm waiting on that, I'm going over the actual stock cast here. If you look over here on this head, this one hasn't been touched. You can see at the beginning of the intake port, it's pretty rough to cast right there. So that's just a quick fix with a little Dremel. You go right here. As you can see, we've kind of smoothed it out. Now we don't want to get rid of that texture because the fuel still needs to atomize inside the port, but we can get those little spots, those hot spots down, and hopefully help with a little bit of airflow. It's not gonna be like any huge power gains or anything, but it just kind of helps with the air going into the cylinders, so that's pretty good. Also, here's our timing cover. It still needs to be painted. I'm gonna take all these bolts off and give it one last clean, try to get that sticker off. It's some factory sticker. But yeah, we're gonna paint that black. That'll be good. And then everything else is pretty much good to go with the black. Power steering and a little bit of accessory bracket right here. Now that looks really clean. Right there. Currently doing a pro resurface job here, just as good as a CNC machine. Got a little 220 grit sandpaper on here with your hand. Make sure you got a flat surface.
Already done this side. Looks pretty good, don't it?
Looks factory to me. And then you don't have to clean out the pistons or anything. The oil will get that whenever the thing starts running.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
And them nicks in the piston, those are actually for performance. It gives us extra horsepower.
Yeah, so that actually changes the compression. We got a little bit of a deeper dish in here, so that we make a little bit more power. Well guys, the new heads are finally done. We're gonna do some final cleaning on these surfaces, get them ready to go on. Got the block cleaned out there. So yeah, and just like that, it looks like we got us a motor again. Got both heads on, chains on, all the guides and everything. We actually made sure to rotate it this time. There's no piston and valve contact, nothing, so it's in time. And yeah, so now we're just gonna put the intake manifold on just to get it out of the way, and then we'll throw the timing cover on and everything else, get the accessories buttoned up, and we'll be ready to go. And there it is, intake on the engine. Now we're gonna blow out the pan one more time because we got a little bit of nasty oil in there still, and then I'm gonna put the timing cover on. Well, with Gambini's help and about 10 minutes of work, we got the engine back together. It's looking good. Now we just gotta put the dipstick back on and then put some fluids in her.
Start her up and let her run.
Blow it up immediately. Well, we got her all back together, as you can see. Got the oil primed in it, so we're gonna try to start her up here, see if it starts up. Got the fuse back in, and then we're gonna put coolant in once we get it started. We've been diagnosing some issues real quick. I know we got it to run, but we couldn't get it to start after that. We reverted the tune back to stock. Now we're throwing our custom tune back on. It actually started on the stock tune, so maybe it just needed to be reset. So that's gonna take a hot second, and then we'll start it up with the good tune. Well, it's like next morning or something, so we actually got it to run. We had to do a couple of things with the car here, so we actually threw the stock injectors back in just so we could get it running. And for some reason the SET tuner was being weird. We're gonna straighten that out when we go to tune, but I know we did have a couple misfires and everything. These are the original plug wires. We just been starting it and moving it around on these. So what we're gonna do is probably just throw these new spark plug wires right here. We're gonna put them in. So that should open up some performance. Yes, sir. New plugs are on. Those look a lot better being actually black instead of brown. Yeah, she's idling good. Turbo's spinning. We're gonna go and take it for a quick drive. And we are pulling her back on the street, boys. Injectors, but you know, we'll get that sorted out. Anytime we hit a bump, the V-band flange scrapes on the ground, so it eventually just becomes flat. But yeah, it's driving okay. Trans is acting up a little bit, but it's always been a little rough. But it's just hot outside, so yeah, we're holding temperature. We're at like 170 something, so it's not bad. I'm gonna do a quick turn right here. Well, I guess that's the bird fix, so I guess next we're just going to tune it and get it running right. Next video we'll try to get some pulls. So yeah, best subscribe so you can see the tuning video. Don't want to miss that, so go ahead and hit that, and see you next video.